Shelling in Russian border region kills two, governor. 2 women were killed in shelling by Ukrainian forces in the Russian border region of Belgorod, according to its governor Vyacheslav Gladkov. The victims were hit by shrapnel as they were traveling in a car near the village of Maslovo Pristin superscript 1. Officials in the neighboring Bryansk and Kursk regions said buildings had been damaged in shelling and an overnight drone attack superscript 1. Ukraine has so far not commented. Congress approves debt deal, averting a U.S. default. The U.S. Congress has approved a deal to lift the country's borrowing limit, days before the world's largest economy was due to default on its debt. The bipartisan measure sped through the Senate by a vote of 63 to 36, a day after it cleared the U.S. House of Representatives. President Joe Biden has said he will enact the measure into law. His signature on the bill will spare the U.S. from a catastrophic default on its $31.4 tn debt. White House says Biden is fine after fall on stage. President Joe Biden tripped on a sandbag and fell as he completed handing out diplomas at the U.S. Air Force Academy commencement in Colorado on Thursday. White House officials say he is fine after the fall. Biden had been greeting the graduates in Colorado Springs. Huge sandstorm sweeps across Suez Canal in Egypt. A huge sandstorm swept across the Suez Canal in Egypt, leading to authorities closing 2 ports. Parts of Egypt have been hit by clouds of dust and sand. One person died and 5 others were injured on Thursday when a billboard collapsed as a result of the sandstorm sweeping through Egypt's capital city Cairo. Florida teenager Dev Shah wins U.S. Spelling Bee. Dev Shah, a 14-year-old Indian-American teenager from Florida, has won the 2023 Scripps National Spelling Bee in the U.S., by correctly spelling the word Samophile, an organism that lives in sandy areas. On Thursday evening, Shah, a student from Largo, became the winner of the 95th National Bee and the $50,000 prize. Will Australia see a war crimes reckoning on Thursday? A judge delivered a ruling that will go down in Australian history. The country's most decorated living soldier, Ben Roberts-Smith, had lost a defamation case against 3 newspapers who reported he had murdered unarmed prisoners and civilians while serving in Afghanistan. The newspapers' allegations that Mr. Roberts-Smith was actually a war criminal, a liar and a bully were substantially true, the judge said in his civil case ruling. Mexican police find 45 bags of human remains. Mexican authorities have found 45 bags containing human remains in a ravine outside the western city of Guadalajara. Officials were searching for 7 young call center workers, who had been reported missing last week, when they found the bodies. The remains include men and women, and the number of bodies is not yet known. 1,000 days in solitary confinement in Iran. Amnesty International is calling for the release of an Iranian man who is spending his 1,000th day in solitary confinement in jail. Vahid Afkari, 37, was convicted, along with his 2 brothers, of murdering a security officer during protests over the cost of living 5 years ago. One of the brothers, champion wrestler Naveed, was executed. The other brother, Habib, was released last year amid international pressure. All 3 denied the accusations and said they were tortured to make them confess. Brics ministers call for rebalancing of global order. A meeting of foreign ministers of the Brics group of nations in South Africa has called for a rebalancing of the global order away from Western nations. South African Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor said the group's vision was to provide global leadership in a world fractured by geopolitical tension, inequality, and global insecurity. Brics is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Drug smugglers finding new routes out of Asia. UN drug traffickers have found new ways of smuggling crystal methamphetamine, known as ice, out of Southeast Asia to high-paying customers outside the region, according to a UN report. Criminal gangs are moving more drugs by sea to evade land patrols in Thailand and China, making them harder to spot. They have learned to anticipate, adapt, and try to circumvent law enforcement, the UN Office on Drugs and Crime said. It will be end from today. Top news around the world. Goodbye.